And good afternoon. We are going to do a service and a winterization on a Honda 200 horsepower outboard today. I'm going to start with the lower unit gear lube, get that out of there, and take the engine cover off and start vacuuming out the engine oil and get that oil change going. Alright, lower unit, here's our oil level plug up here, and here's our oil drain plug over here. I'll loosen these up. That's in there. There we go. There we go. I usually take the vent out first. O-ring looks good. And then the drain. Oil looks good and clean. I can definitely see some metal. So it's a new engine, so he's probably still in the process of breaking in the gears in the lower unit. Not too bad. The O-ring looks good. Okay, we'll let that drain. And now we're going to take off the cover. And where are you? There we go. Okay, I'm gonna get a ladder. This is a heavy one. All right, have the cover off. Here's our dipstick tube. See where we're at. Oil looks a little high. Higher than it needs to be. Oil filter. I'm going to vacuum out the oil right here through that dipstick tube. Alright, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, nope. How about that? Nope. Need a smaller tube here for that one. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get a little tray here to catch this oil, and I'm gonna get a new oil filter, and I'm gonna get a new fuel water separator ready. Here's the secondary fuel filter here. We'll be taking that off and draining it. Here we go. All right, still vacuuming the oil out. I'm going to pull these fuel lines out of my way. And then I'm gonna slip this fuel filter off its bracket. Just gets it out of my way. I'm taking it off anyway. So you can see the drain goes into another little drain. I'm just gonna clip that right underneath there. Catch any oil that's in this filter. Not much, a little bit. All right. filter, always make sure you're putting some motor oil on the gasket or O-ring in this case. Okay. Okay, that's good and tight. And then if we can see over here, oil 10W30, 8 US quarts. Alright, so should be, I got a ways to go. We've only taken out 1.5 quarts so far. So we'll keep vacuuming that out. I am going to get a Phillips screwdriver so I can remove this fuel filter, secondary fuel filter, and we're also going to change out the primary fuel water separator. All right, here we go. All right, there's an O-ring in here. Basically, you have this rubber that is just to hang on to the mount with. You have the plate that secures the cup to the metal housing, and then right in here is an O-ring and the filter. I'm going to take the filter off and go blow that out with some compressed air. And I'm going to dump out this fuel right here. Okay, I do want that to stay upright. You see there's a float in there. When there's water, that will float up. It'll float in water, but will not float in gas. So that's the sensor for if you have water in your fuel system. In the meantime, I'm gonna just let that drain out. And I'm gonna go blow out this filter now and have it on standby. Just be careful that you don't blow the O-ring out. You definitely need it to keep a good seal. Looks great. All right, we're still waiting for the 8 quarts of oil to get vacuumed out. Going to start putting my new gear lube in there. And I'm gonna grease the grease fittings soon. All right, I'm gonna pump some oil in here until it starts to overflow out the oil level plug. All right, now we're gotta be just about full here. This lower unit holds, I believe, 1 3/4 quarts. It should be full soon. There we go. All right, we'll do the top plug first. Just a little love tap, don't have to kill it. Yeah, we're getting our bottom plug ready. And quickly, there we go. Alright, lower unit gear lube is changed out. We can put this away. We're going to tilt up the engine and grease some grease fittings next. Oil is still pumping out. Alright, I'm going to throw a little grease here. My 90-degree fitting from Amazon. Couldn't tell you who manufactured it, but it works really well. And I'm gonna get this one. Tilt the engine up just a little bit here. Take off my 90-degree fitting. There's one right here. That is just for the cup here for the trim, and then the main steering stem is down here. You see the water come out? That's why I definitely make sure I get this done in the fall for sure. There is an upper one. They are both connected. It still comes out the bottom, so we're done with that. All right, and we got one more on this side here. There you go. And then I'm gonna grease the wheels on the trailer. You'll feel it. So you see grease is moving already. It's chock full. Next. Oh, this one's easy. There we go. Tells you that that one's full. Sometimes there's a grease fitting on the hitch for the ball, grease fitting for the trailer jack. And then we'll do these two. That one's full. And that one's full. Alright, we're done greasing. Alright, I turned the key on. I'm looking to see how much fuel there is on board. And we're going to stabilize the fuel a little bit more than half a tank. This whole bottle does 80 gallons. I think there's probably 60 gallons in here. That should be about right. Okay, we're gonna pull out the fuel water separator. It's right here. Okay. Alright, so this fuel pump primer bulb is pumping from the tank to the filter housing. This one right here is pumping from the filter housing to the engine. So I'm going to pump that, and it's going to come out that filter housing right there. Alright. That is getting all the fuel out of the fuel line between the separator filter housing and the engine secondary filter housing. All right, I'm gonna go disassemble this and get a new filter. All right, so the way this boat is plumbed with the fuel system, it goes from the fuel tank to this fuel water separator, which I'm leaving empty, and then from there goes directly to the engine secondary fuel pump. Oh, sorry, secondary fuel filter, which I'm going to leave that disconnected and removed. And then from there it'll go to an electric fuel pump, and then the electric fuel pump will pump it to the VST, vapor separating tank, and high pressure to the injectors. We're going to get the VST ready to be winterized. From the water separator comes through fuel to the housing, out of the housing through that secondary filter housing, out. Fuel line keeps going, goes to an electric pump here. From the electric pump goes to this tank. That's the VST, and we're going to drain that when we winterize it, get all the gas out. If you can see, hopefully you can, there is a drain plug right down here, a valve, and we're going to open that up a few turns, and then the gas is going to come out this pink hose right here. we're going to disconnect, and I want it to be kind of below the level of the tank ultimately. So I'm going to push that down. Okay. There we go. All right. And all I'm doing now is just loosening that up, getting it ready. So when we are ready to winterize the engine, we'll hook up the antifreeze, we'll start the engine up, turn on the flow of antifreeze, and then we're going to come back here, we're going to open up this screw, and all the fuel in the fuel system is going to get pumped out outside. Alright, we're finally finished vacuuming out the oil. Again, we're looking to add in 8 quarts. Oil fill is right here. I like to use Mobil 1 synthetic, and it wants 10W30, which is pretty much what most outboards are going to want, 10W30. So we're going to put in this first 5 quarts, and then I'll get another 3 quarts, we'll put that in, and we're almost ready to start it up and run the antifreeze through. Alright, I'm using 3 gallons of pink -50° Fahrenheit marine engine approved antifreeze, and I have my 12-volt pump here. I have the valve at the bucket is open, the valve after the pump is off. Now I'm going to power up the pump. I have a ground right here, and then I have a positive right here. Just gonna prime. Okay, pump is primed. I have my screwdriver prepared. That's ready to go. Screwdriver's ready to go. I got engine oil. My fuel filters are all situated. I'm gonna go start it up. Finished winterizing the cooling system. All right, we have run the engine out of gas. I've cranked it a couple of times, it's stalled a couple of times. All right, I've taken off the coil packs, unclipped the plug, taken off all the retaining bolts, taken off all the coil packs, removed all the spark plugs. I did re-gap the spark plugs after a good cleaning at 1 millimeter, and now we're just going to fog the cylinders. About 4 seconds per cylinder. It's approximate. Larger cylinder is a little more. Okay. Now we're going to go crank the engine over a little bit just to disperse and spread the oil throughout the cylinder. Okay, I am done with the key. And I am done with the battery. So that's off. All right, I'm gonna tighten those up by hand and put everything back together. Just snug, you don't have to kill anything here. All right, so I've organized these coil packs top to bottom. We'll come back to that. Again, we finish everything by hand. Don't use power tools to finish your torque on these spark plugs and coil packs. Alright, that's that. And going to tighten down this drain on the VST. Again, snug. Okay, that's that. Gonna grab the hose and try to put it back. And then there's your O-ring. There you go, beautiful. Okay. Got to make sure that that gets seated in there nice and squarely. Don't drop your screws. I just did it finger tight basically. And then Tighten them up. Okay. And then here's your rubber slots. It goes on those brackets there. Just make sure it's seated all the way. And then I'm going to clip our hoses back. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's all set. That's all set. Fuel filter's all set. Keys, batteries, oil, coil packs plugged. VST is closed off. The valve is tight. All I have to do now is put the engine back on, the engine cover back on. All right, that's a wrap. We'll do some more tomorrow.